Good morning. Happy spring. It is good to be together, even though we are not gathering at First Parish in Concord. I am so glad that you are joining with us in community this morning. Whether you live nearby or you're joining from some other town or state or even country, it is good for us to be together this morning. I'm the Reverend Amy Friedman. I serve as the Minister of Religious Education. And today is a very special Sunday because it is our youth service. And so I'm really delighted that you're here to be a part of it. I just want to tell you a couple things. We have in our Zoom webinar a chat feature. And if you haven't used it yet, it's a great way to introduce yourself and to let us know where you're from. So feel free to do that. And also there is a wonderful feature now of closed captioning. So if that would be helpful to you to follow along with our service, you'll notice a little CC or a live transcript icon in the bottom of your screen. And so feel free to turn that on if that's helpful to you. Today we have so many wonderful people who are leading our service. And so I want to show you who is here so we can introduce ourselves. And the first person I'd like to introduce is Najia.
Good morning, everyone. I am Najia Lloyd. I am a senior at Concord Carlisle Regional High School, and I'm very excited to be with all of you this morning. May?
Good morning, everyone. I'm May Leaves. I'm a freshman at CC. I'm in the Gospel Ensemble, and I'm so excited to partake in this service. Ashley?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ashley Parlman. I'm a senior at Acton-Boxborough Regional High School. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you this morning. Catherine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Cook. I am also a senior at Acton-Boxborough Regional High School, and I'm also in the Gospel Ensemble, and I am super thrilled to be here with all of you today. Sam.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sam Tull. I am a senior at CC, and I'm excited to share this beautiful morning with you all. Let's see, Gus.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gus Cook. I am a freshman at Acton-Boxborough Regional High School. I am also in the Gospel Ensemble, and I am thrilled to be here sharing my morning with you. Zah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zah Goddard-Taylor. I'm a freshman at Lincoln Sudbury, and I am so excited to share this service with you guys. Margot.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Margot Venesey. I'm a sophomore at CCHS, and I'm delighted to be here this morning. Madsy?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Madsy Burnham. I am the lead youth advisor here at First Parish in Concord, and I'm in my, 22nd or 29th year of life school. So it's good to be here. Howard.
Good morning, everybody. Howard Dana here, Senior Minister. Youth Rock, go, go, go. I will pass it to Sarah Ritchie, who is on tech.
Hi, I'm Sarah. It's good to be with you today.
How about Simone?
Good morning, you all. I'm Simone Tricca, and I'm a senior at the Parker Charter School. Sydney, have you introduced yourself yet?
No, I'm Sydney Haddad. I am a sophomore at CCHS, and I am very happy to see you all this morning. Najia?
I already went, but is there anyone else who needs to go?
So Anderson.
Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here. I hope that you are going to have an amazing service with us this morning.
And last but never least, Dawn Van Patten.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dawn Van Patten. I serve as your Assistant Director of Religious Education, and I think we're ready to pass it back to Madsy.
To me. Sorry, I'm getting my cue sheet up.
No worries. We're going to turn it over to May to begin with our call to worship.
Good morning. Our call to worship this morning is a poem by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Come, let us worship together.
Each Sunday, we join with Unitarian Universalists around the world and close to home in lighting a chalice. If you have a chalice or candle at home, please light it along with us. With the words of the youth come a time of change and hope, much like that of the first bloom of spring. This is going to load. There we go. Please join me in our chalice lighting response. O flame of our faith, open our hearts and fill our bodies and souls with persistent strength, enliven our spirits and engage us deeply in this life of ours, the sacred, essential moment now.
So maybe you've heard. If you haven't heard, it is March and we are in the middle of, or not in the middle of, kind of nearing the end of our annual pledge campaign. Every year in March, we ask you, our community, to make a financial pledge to support the mission and programs of First Parish. You can learn more about the pledge campaign and make a pledge on our website. One of my favorite parts of the pledge campaign is hearing from members of our congregation, members of our First Parish community. And this week, it is my great pleasure to introduce Anna Whitney.
Hi, everyone. I just want to start off by saying that I, like so many, have struggled through COVID-19. I'm lucky enough to be part of a wonderful school that I truly love. I transferred in during 10th grade and became deeply enmeshed in the community. Losing my junior year spring and much of my senior year to COVID-19 was devastating. Even now, when I am one of the few who can attend school in person, it all feels like a weak, diluted version of what I once had. The amount of grief and loss I feel for the simplest, most normal things is something I could have never anticipated. The many losses of COVID-19 have not only touched my academic life. A few years ago, on the most recent pilgrimage trip, I visited Etiquette in Transylvania with my father, and I can say it was life-changing. First Parish and the partner church committee opened a huge door for both of us. The friendships formed over there mean a great deal to me. Over the last summer, I was to spend 6 weeks with a family in Etiquette, immersing myself in the culture and becoming more deeply connected to the church community there. But of course, that trip was canceled. To not be able to return and reconnect was very upsetting. Although I cannot visit them very soon, I have found observing their community and learning to appreciate how they live to still be beneficial to me today. I noticed when I was over there that without fail, the youth from their church, whether they were 12 or 18, would come hang out with us and listen to European club music, play games, or dance and just have fun. It didn't matter if they had school the next day or not, they always found the time. Growing up in America, I've always learned that I need to devote most of my time to and always prioritize work. And while they certainly took their education seriously, they had a wonderful balance between school and life that allowed them to take advantage of the opportunity of getting to know us. Witnessing this community's approach to work has been very, very helpful. Specifically, finding a college has been an especially difficult process this year, but being able to identify elements that I like about the Transylvanians community, like being able to work together, but also have lots of fun and taking time to be spontaneous, and then seeing if I can find those elements in a school has helped guide me to understanding what I personally want out of my community for the next 4 years. First Parish has offered me a life-changing experience. Traveling with other parishioners to a different culture, despite the many years that have passed since then, remains an incredibly relevant and enriching part of my life, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
Please join us in singing Come Sing a Song With Me by Carolyn McDade. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter tide.
Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Good morning, First Parish children and their families. My name is Jane Blumberg, and I had the pleasure this winter of working with the youth on the children's message for today. And I wanted to tell you how we did it. I was curious about what it's like for an immigrant to leave his home or her home in Central America and travel all the way up through Mexico into the United States. And I didn't know anything about it. So I sat down with Tony Rodriguez, who goes to First Parish, and he has been to the border along with several other people from our Immigrant Justice Task Force. And he's also worked with a lot of immigrants and helped them get settled in the United States. So he shared with me a lot of stories from people who have made this trip. So from these stories, I created a character, Anthony, and I wrote a series of letters, 6 letters that Anthony wrote to his mother in New York as he leaves Honduras and travels to be with her. So then I passed these letters along to our youth, and they decided how they wanted to share these letters with you. So settle in, relax, and I hope you enjoy Letters to a Mother I Barely Know.
Dear Mama, thank you for your birthday letter asking me to come to New York to live with you. You cannot know how excited this makes me. Tio said you always intended to send for me, but you could not have taken a 5-year-old boy with you. You did not know what you would find for work or where you were going to live. I never knew all of this. I have saved all your birthday letters and money you ever sent me. You ask what memories I have of you. A few. I remember a red blouse. I remember the smell of charcoal when you hugged me. I remember you settling me on my mat at night. I remember a doctor's office in San Pedro Sula where you took me for my asthma appointments. And once there was a magazine with pictures of paintings. I was so drawn to them. Do you remember that the doctor ripped out the pages and gave them to me? I still have them. I will write and sketch on the way from Honduras to New York, and will share these with you. Thank you for the birthday money. We now have saved, all of us, $7,000 for the Coyote. I leave Tuesday and do not know how many weeks it will take me. The Coyote says it depends what happens when I cross into the U.S. from Mexico. Anthony.
Dear Mama, I leave our village tomorrow. Tio Pedro will walk with me to San Lucia early when Father Isidro will introduce me to the coyote. Padre says there will be other boys and men in the truck. I am bringing my journal, my drawing paper, your letters, some lempiras, some tortillas, and maize, some clothes, my birth certificate, not too much since I will have to carry my pack. Oh, and I have to memorize your phone number, like you told me to. I've wanted to go to America since graduating 6th grade. I am tired of working in the fields all day, every day. And I liked school. Sometimes there was paper and I could draw. I liked learning stuff. I learned some English, but not very much, as you'll soon find out. And I am tired of being hungry. Tia Maria has a garden, but it's not enough for all of us. And now some boys came down from the hills 2 nights ago and stole Tio's goat. To eat, I imagine. But I'm also nervous about leaving. I will miss everyone. Right now, Tio Pedro and Tio Tony are laughing and teasing each other. They are repairing the fence around the goat pen. I can hear Tia washing the dishes, and a hummingbird that comes often is on the bougainvillea just outside the window near our mat. When I finish writing, I will draw him one last time. Little Soul is already asleep next to me. I will miss the sound of his steady breathing at night. I don't know if I will sleep at all. I have never been alone, ever. Anthony.
Dear Mama, it has been a few weeks since I wrote to you. The coyote drove us through Guatemala and Mexico. We are now a few hours from where he will leave us at the Rio Grande River. There are 6 of us packed into the back of this truck. No one talks much. One boy, about my age, has a long, raised red scar across his face, and his left eye is cloudy and purple. I have not heard him speak once, and he avoids looking at anyone. I want to draw his face, but I do not dare to in front of the others. And anyway, the roads are too bumpy. We are covered with red dust, and breathing, for me, is difficult. I don't want the others to hear me wheezing. Yesterday, we came across an orange construction cone in the middle of the road. A boy, maybe only 11 or 12, holding an assault rifle, stopped us and demanded money from the coyote. As our coyote talked to him, another boy, younger than the first, jumped out from behind some bushes and demanded our money. I gave him the envelope Father Isidro had given me. Just then, we heard a terrible sound. Our driver had struck the boy so hard with the butt of his rifle that the boy fell over into the dust, and we sped away, ducking in the back of the pickup for fear of being shot. I feel very alone. I hope New York is not like this. I've heard there are museums and that one of them even has paintings by Alvarado Juarez, the guy whose paintings I was so taken with in San Pedro Sula. I try to think about you and New York and not the strange faces, hunger, and fear, and my sore butt as I bounce up and down in this truck day after day. Anthony.
Dear Mama, I am now in ICE detention somewhere in Texas. The coyote dropped us by the river, giving each of us an inner tube to get across. The boy with the scar got part way across, but his tube had a leak. He looked terrified. I don't think he knew how to swim. The others went on ahead, fighting the current and holding their packs to keep them dry. I told the boy to get on my tube, but in the process, we flipped over, and my pack went in the water. The packet with your letters fell out and drifted away before I could grab it. We made it to the American side, and it was the first time I saw him smile. Our coyote had told us to walk west until we were picked up by Border Patrol agents. We walked together, he and I, though he still had very little to say. The walk was incredibly hot, even though we were wet, but we had not eaten in a day and a half. Periodically, we came upon plastic water jugs that kind people had left for migrants like us.
a fellow migrant who joined us for a while and who had made the trip several times, pointing to empty plastic jugs pierced by bullets in order to drain the water. Who would do such a thing? And I thought of what you wrote in your letter. You'll find people in America who are the kindest you've ever met and the meanest you've ever met. We were picked up by agents after about 4 hours, just as it was getting dark, and brought to the hieleras, the icebox. There were bright lights everywhere and men in green uniforms. All of them had guns, and it reminded me of San Pedro Sula. Some spoke English, some spoke Spanish. Even in Spanish, it was terribly confusing. We were led as a large group, about 60 men and boys, and a few mothers with children, into a large building where we waited for a few hours to tell our stories. It was freezing and our clothes were still wet. I have never been that cold in my life. When it was my turn, I offered my soggy birth certificate to the agent. I said I wanted to apply for asylum because of the violence in Honduras, just as you suggested. He took my birth certificate and said it was worthless. A group of nuns and other gringos waited outside for us and gave us crackers and bottles of water as we were led to an enormous metal building where I am now. I've heard some call it the perera, or kennel, because you feel like a dog. We are completely enclosed in wire cages, and I have no idea what is happening, how long we will be there, if they will feed us, where to go to the bathroom, or if we will be sent back. We huddled together on 2 metal benches. The boy with the scar's name is Diego. He spoke his first words to me today. It was a mistake to come here, he said. After he fell asleep, I moved nearer the door. There was a bit of light coming from a sign over the door. Exit. And I drew Diego's face, washed in red light. Anthony.
Dear Mama, sometime during the second week in detention, a woman came to speak to me about getting out and going to stay with you while I wait for my asylum case to be heard. Her name was Lori, and she was a lawyer with a group that helps people coming into the United States. She gave me some clean clothes, some American dollars, I have no idea how much, and a bus ticket to New York City. Diego made me show her my drawings. Everyone in my cage watched her face. She was impressed by them. I could tell, and told me to hold on to them. I was sad to leave Diego alone in the Perera. He had no one in the US to sponsor him. But it was great to get on the bus and head across America. On the side of the bus was a very skinny dog, running, just like me. He wanted to get out of Texas. I slept a great deal on the bus ride. I had not slept well in detention. But the bus was wonderful. I sat next to an older woman. She didn't speak Spanish, but she was very kind. We discovered that we could communicate very well by drawing pictures. On the first night of our trip, we pulled into a rest stop. Janet, my traveling companion, and I went into the restroom. With some money the lawyer had given me to eat, but I did not know about dollars and whether I had enough money for soda and chips. I asked a man at the register who was Hispanic, ¿Cuánto cuesta? He was answering me in Espanol when suddenly another customer appeared and spat at me. You're in America now, buddy. Learn English. The store got very quiet. Then Janet appeared. She went right up to the man and said, You're in America, buddy. Learn manners. Everyone laughed except me. You're right about Americans. They're either one way or the other. Janet lives in New York, and she has drawn me a map from the Port Authority to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel where you work. I am so excited to see you. Anthony.
Dear Mama, I'm wearing the new clothes the lawyer gave me. I changed in the bathroom at the Port Authority and washed my face and hair when no one else was using the restroom. I look pretty good, and now I am sitting in front of your hotel. There is a red carpet on the stairs next to me, and so much noise and activity. People move quickly here, and all of the cars are so new. Most of the people look pissed off. How come? I hope you don't look like that. I remember you as happy. A man just told me to move off the steps to the bench next to a long box of flowers. I am nervous to see you, and excited too. It is hard to believe this city will ever feel like home, or that I will ever be able to find my way around. But, Mama, I am eager to try, and I have come this far. It's hard to imagine any place more different from Tio and Tia's than the steps of the Waldorf Astoria. I hope you will know me. Just now, I was drawing the flowers, and guess what? In the middle of them, I saw something move. I pulled back a leaf, and there was a hummingbird, his breast as red as the carpet. Did he follow me all the way here? Is he a migrant too? Perhaps he's showing me that it is possible to live in both worlds. Anthony.
Please join us as we sing together, Let Us Open Our Eyes. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to seek what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. And may we walk in peace.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Manuel Burnham. I am the lead youth advisor here. It's such a joy to be here with you all and these wonderful youths. I've been coming to First Parish since I was very little. When I was in high school, I got to attend youth group every Sunday, and it was always the highlight of my week. I was so excited to be a part of the group. It gave me something to look forward to and a safe place to be myself, which was exactly what I needed. Now I'm lucky enough to be leading the youth group. Spending time and creating an open, caring space with these young people each week is truly incredible. This past year has been strange, to say the least, for everyone. But their ability to connect with and love each other has only grown, and it has been amazing to witness. They are all just amazing human beings, and I am so happy that they get to share this service with you all today.
Strangers had never felt so much like family. I remember that first night meeting the Hungarian youths from a partner church in Székely Keresztúr. I watched Sam shake hands with their leader, Levente. But when I went to do the same, he shook his head and kissed me on both cheeks. This was a different culture, an inviting one. I already felt like family. In large groups, I'm pretty introverted, but somehow there wasn't that same awkward tension between all of us in that small room. It was as if we were old friends. I was the first to sit down, and suddenly Bella and Fozzie sat next to me. Bella, a medical student, showed me pictures of sliced brains, and that's when I knew she was my kind of person. We talked and talked as the room filled with their beautiful music. I couldn't stop watching Barney playing the violin. I have never seen someone so happy, so lost in their music. He spoke minimal English, but didn't matter, because he could look at you and smile, and it told you everything. It told you how grateful he was to be here, and that you would never be strangers again. Everyone began filing outside except me, and I'll never forget Barney, Chaba, Esther, and Balaz circling around and playing for just me. I have never felt so accepted and loved as I did in that moment. Those that watched the Hungarian youths perform here, I know you felt that happiness too. Joy just seemed to follow them. They made us dance in the parish hall, holding hands, kicking, spinning, doing conga lines with Reverend Howard. I have never seen this congregation smile and laugh like that. I have never seen people let down their walls so freely. I have never seen so many people connect. This is what the Hungarians did. Everywhere they went, they brought people together. I remember the day they left. I remember that Barney gives the best hugs, ones that last an extra moment or two because they're not just out of formality. I remember Bella, who I couldn't imagine crying until we had to say goodbye. But who I really remember from that day was 11-year-old Pana. She'd always say my name and smile to announce my arrival, but we didn't talk much. So I was surprised when she ran to me, wrapping her arms around my legs and saying, "Ashley, don't go." I wiped away her tears and told her I'd see her again. She buried herself in my arms, and we stayed like that. Neither of us wanted to let go. My connection with Hungarians is something I will hold on to forever. They taught me that there are so many beautiful people in this world I haven't met. You don't have to speak the same language or share the same culture to connect with people. You just have to open yourself up to joy and love. You have to let down your walls and take it all in. So when 6 feet no longer separates us, go, get lost in someone else's music, and you might just find yourself dancing along.
Anyone who knows me knows I'm a bit of a Boston sports fanatic, somehow, even after a year like this. So it would be a bit of a letdown if I didn't put the New England Patriots in my reflection, right? It was the end of the 2015 to 2016 NFL season and the semifinals of the Super Bowl. The Patriots are playing against the Broncos, whom we dislike. My dad, the one who usually watches these important games with my brother and I, was in the hospital, where he stayed until the late spring of 2016. My brother and I watched in horror as the New England Patriots fell to the Denver Broncos and lost by 2 points their spot in the final. We were seriously distraught because Peyton Manning, their quarterback, is the worst. My dad was in pretty awful shape too, so life was not the best. That same day, Declan, my brother, my mom and I were parking to visit my dad at the Brigham and Women's ICU, which we did every Sunday. We were all feeling pretty exhausted, and my mom used a valet to park our car. This valet guy came over and started to make us laugh and began talking with us for a little while. He was so upbeat and really nice. This guy made our days, and as Declan, my mom, and I walked into that building, we felt a little lighter. Fast forward to a year later, and Trump had just been inaugurated, so personally I felt like I needed a win. The Patriots were playing the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. My dad was home to see that with us, and we watched as the Patriots were losing by 25 points most of the game. We sat shell-shocked, staring open-mouthed at the TV until the end of the third quarter, and then they made their comeback. The Patriots set a record for the greatest Super Bowl comeback that day, as did my dad, being there with us when we didn't think he would, overcoming insurmountable odds. My dad decided we were going to the parade in Boston. It was the grossest day. It was sleeting and snowing and raining all day. And my mom kept saying she couldn't shake this feeling that she was forgetting someone or something. I shook it off as post-holiday, like I didn't get a gift from my third cousin twice removed stress, but she was insistent that she was forgetting something. She offered to walk back where we parked and then pick us up where we were waiting. And as she walked back, she went and bought a pizza. And I know this sounds crazy, but bear with me. She had the exact amount of cash to pay for this pizza and started walking to our car. As she walked to our car, she told us that she could not even comprehend why she did that. She walked up and it all hit her. We were parked at the Brigham Women's ICU parking lot, where my dad had stayed at the time the year prior, and she saw the valet guy who talked to us. When he made us laugh the year before, my mom had pulled him aside as Declan and I were walking into the building, and she said, "What can I do to thank you for making my kids so happy? They've had a really hard time with their dad being sick." He said, "I'll tell you what, this time next year, if the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, bring me a pizza." So she did, a year later. Especially now, with our contact with others being so very limited, never underestimate the power you have in other people's lives, even complete strangers.
2 summers ago, I decided to try something different. I raised a significant amount of funds, and thank you all to those of you who are here today who supported me. And I got on a plane and I flew to the Dominican Republic, where I met with 25 other kids my age who also wanted to do what I was doing, which was help people whose lives are not as fortunate as mine. And okay, I admit it, to get some tropical beach time, whatever, I admit it. For 3 weeks, I sweated and used my Spanish and my building skills from being a set builder at my school, and I helped refurbish school buildings. The people I met there lived a different lifestyle, but they were open-hearted and grateful. The trip changed my life. It taught me that beauty is all around us, that friendship can be found in the most unexpected places, and that it really feels good to give of myself. I thank the people of Veragua, Dominican Republic, to whom I am eternally grateful.
I originally prepared this reflection for a service last year, but I think this might be an even better time to read it to you all. We've had a long, long year of being stuck at home, no traveling, same spaces every day. So I want to tell you a story about a time I was very, very far from home. The National Cathedral in Chisinau, Moldova, is a large yellow building set back from the central plaza, questionably situated across the street from a large brutalist government building. I spent many of my afternoons enjoying the surrounding park, watching flocks of pigeons congregate and scatter around the bell tower before I even ventured inside the building. It wasn't just a sense of apprehension about walking into the sacred space of a notoriously conservative church that kept me from going sooner. It was also the preparation it took. Once I made up my mind that I just had to visit, I spent a good hour online researching proper church etiquette. As it turns out, it's very different than the church etiquette I learned here at First Parish. I would have asked my host family for tips, but they were actually evangelical Protestants and not very excited about orthodoxy at all. So instead, it was Google that confirmed my suspicion that I would need to wear a headscarf and a skirt or dress. Finally, I felt prepared. I packed a scarf in my school bag that day, and after class, I took the bus into the city center and was covering my hair on the wide painted steps by 2. The door was heavy, like the air inside the cathedral, and it was dim inside. The only light came from prayer candles scattered around various altars. Streams of incense flowed up into the gilded cupola, providing the murals of heavenly angels and saints with real clouds. Every inch of the interior was covered in gold or religious icons, so that the walls sparkled with candlelight. I was awestruck by the sumptuous design, so different from First Parish, where I grew up. It was much fancier even than any of the churches I had visited in neighboring faiths. Wandering through the maze of altars and incense burners, being very careful not to turn my back on the main altar, I fell completely in love with the solemn atmosphere and ornate furnishings. In the Orthodox religion, active participation is an important part of any visit to a church. Everyone around me was completely absorbed in crossing themselves, kissing the icons, kneeling to pray. And I wanted to join in somehow, but it felt like it would be insincere to simply imitate the Orthodox believers. So instead, I walked back to the booth by the entrance, and I bought a small candle from the babushka there for a few cents. I spent a quiet moment lighting my candle and watching it flicker in one of the basins of sand in front of the icons before I left it burning and headed out. From then on, I tried to visit the central cathedral every couple of weeks or so, and I would make a point to visit smaller churches in other parts of the city too. Sometimes I'd even get to travel to the monasteries scattered across the Moldovan countryside. The time I spent in these beautiful churches was a quiet time for me in the midst of my hectic and stressful life in a foreign country. It was also a way to feel connected to that country and the people who live there. It was a time for me to chat with the babushki who took care of the grounds and worked in the gift shops selling jewelry and candles. A time to listen to the choir, follow the priest with the congregation during the service. The churches are left open during special events, so I even witnessed a few baptism ceremonies and weddings. I didn't need to be a believer to feel a connection to the space and the people I met there. However, that connection was an uneasy one for me. Besides my disbelief, I worried about how Orthodoxy's conservative stance might affect me during my visits. I knew the church was at least partially to blame for the rampant sexism and homophobia I was experiencing, and I imagined someone might jump out at me while I was admiring an icon and say, "Get out! We know you're gay, and you're being immodest too. We can see your knees." But that never happened, so instead, I was just left to sit with the uncomfortable and ironic fact that the very place that was making life less safe for me was also my safe space for the moment. For me, it was based only on an inexplicable feeling of comfort and awe, in spite of the differences of opinion that kept me away at first. Unlikely connections like these aren't easy or simple. Sitting with that discomfort and working with and around it is always a growing edge. It's a learned skill and it takes lots of practice, but it's valuable. And for me to be able to spend a moment in that beautiful church, or even just to have someone to chat with for a minute, it was worth it.
What a gift. Thank you all for sharing your experiences of connection with us, both in faraway lands and right here at First Parish and close to home. In a moment, we're going to hear from the Gospel Ensemble. They're going to sing as the storm is passing over. And in this service, we wanted to give you the opportunity to reflect on the question about universal connections. So I'll show you that slide now. Our question for you is, what universal connections bring you hope? And you're welcome, while the Gospel Ensemble is singing, to put a few words in the chat. We can't do the whole story, but just a few words to let us know about that connection. And I will lift them up during our prayer time.
Storms, we rest forevermore. over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Gospel Ensemble, for sharing that uplifting song with us. One of the many ways we join together as a community is through a time of prayer and meditation. We have a pastoral list in which we care for each other and reach out to each other throughout the week. And if you have something going on in your life, whether it is a great joy that you'd like to share or a sorrow that you need help to carry, please email the Reverend Liz Weber, who is our Minister for Pastoral Care. Today, several of you have shared some milestones in your life, and we will share the details in our Zoom chat so you can learn more about that. Here are the people who asked to be held by us today and in the week ahead. We send loving kindness and hope for a continued easy recovery for Debbie. And we welcome Leo. We celebrate and send good wishes to Suzanne, Dave, Elise, and Nora. Each one of us comes here with people and connections on our hearts and minds. And so if there is someone who you carry into our space today, I invite you to say their names aloud, or you are welcome to type their names into the chat. And we will join together in singing Spirit of Life. Let us pray. O love, we are saddened and outraged by the recent shooting in Atlanta. We hold in love and prayer all Asian Americans who are grieving and frightened. We decry violence and systems of oppression. Help us to open our hearts to our universal connections. As a gathered community, we lift up that which brings us hope, laughter and music, this youth group and this congregation, profound and thoughtful words beautifully expressed. We all share our planet and responsibility for good stewardship. We draw inspiration from meditation and prayer. Our hearts are held by feeling welcomed by others, and also the welcome that we extend to the stranger who soon can become a friend. There are many thoughts of gratitude expressed for this gathering and for all the circles of connection that extend outward in wider and wider circles. O love, close as our beating hearts, help us to practice our belief in the inherent goodness of all people and the goal of world community. May we remember that we are together on this journey, and together we will find our way home. Blessed be. Let us continue our prayer and meditation in silence.
This morning we light the social action candle with A Blessing for the Front Lines by Anna Jeffrey. Oh you rebel, you queer and wayward child, you abandoned and listless, you angry and forgotten, you brown and black and indigenous, you homeless and impoverished, you dreamer, you warrior. You are not alone here. You have never been alone. Not in this place, not in this time, not in the whole of history. There have always been ones like you. There will always be ones like you. We have always fought in the papers, in the streets, with paint cans and with pens, through tear gas and water cannons, in your armor inadequate, in your fear and your rage. You have never been alone. Plant your feet like the 1,000-year oak. Scream like the ghosts of your ancestors. Light your hearts on fire with the ashes of all the dead sons.
During our service, we express our shared values and aspirations through the offering. And this month, we are sharing our offering 50-50 with Gaining Ground, which grows organic produce and for hunger relief with help from volunteers who work and learn in the gardens. This slide has more information about how you can make your donation by text, but of course you are also welcome to make a donation through our website or by mailing a check. We are so grateful for all the ways that you enrich our community. Thank you.
As we begin to close our service, I would like to thank the youth for all of their inspirational words and their hard work and their music. Thank you all so much. Just a few quick announcements as we begin to close here. Pay attention to FP Weekly that comes in your email. That's got lots of Zoom links in it. It's your best source for how to get around in these days of online church. There is First Parish Family RE Connect every Sunday from 9 to 9:30. If you're not attending that yet, get a hold of Amy or Dawn and you can learn how to do that. We are still accepting Share the Plate nominations from now until the end of March. You can find more information at firstparish.org or just get a hold of Adrienne Betancourt and she can help you with the process. If you are interested right after this service to be a part of the Worship Sharing Circle, it will start. There will be a link to it in the chat. It'll finish by 11:30 a.m. And we also have online coffee hour, and Susan C. is a member of our standing committee, and she's here to invite you to that. Susan?
Hi, good morning, friends. I had a couple words prepared, but this service has kind of just done me in. It was so beautiful and so powerful, and thank you for talking to us about reflections and being so profound and beautiful and giving us the service you gave us this morning, youth. It was so great to see your faces. We can continue to connect in coffee hour, and I would love to see you there. Come join.
Great, thank you, Susan. That'll finish up by 11:30 as well. And the last thing to mention is that we are in the middle of the pledge campaign and we're doing the 520 challenge again. So if you raise your pledge by $520 or more this year, your name will be put into a raffle automatically. And the prize is a day of sailing on Buzzards Bay with Brad Hubbard Nelson. So that is going to be a worthwhile prize. So think about raising your pledge this year by $520 or more to be included in that raffle. Now let's join with Anderson in singing Stand By Me.
Hello, everyone. Please join me as we sing Benny King's song, Stand By Me. This song is so universally loved and familiar. This song also exemplifies how more alike than different we are. It accurately paints a picture of the power of love and the nothingness of reality. If only we knew how we could realize true love in our relationship and create a better world. Please join me as we sing together. Get out of your seat. Please join me as we sing together. Stand By Me. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. My friends, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should stumble and fall, all the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And my friends stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. My friends stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me, stand by me.
Thank you. Sorry, I just lost all of my things. Here we are. Thank you guys all for being here today. Thank you to the wonderful youth groupies for just being amazing and creating such a wonderful service. And now if you will all please join me in our benediction. Go out into the world in peace, have courage, hold on to what is good, return to no person evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the suffering, honor all beings. And as I tell the youth group, be kind to yourselves, be kind to everyone else,